How do you find the square root of 36? So when we're talking about the square root of something, we have to think about mathematically it means it's this little like umbrella or this little roof above a specific number. So this here is the square root of 36. And how do we solve this problem? Well, there's a couple ways to solve this problem. If we're looking at from a lower level math perspective, here what we can do is we can implement something called a trial and error to solve for what 36 would be. So when we're talking about square roots of something, we are talking about the inverse operation, which is taking the exponent of 2 or squaring a specific number. So if we're going to use a trial and error method, what we can do is we can simply write down all the square roots or all the squares and see what the square roots are going to be. So I have, so I'm going to have 1 squared here, which is going to be 1 times 1, which is going to equal 1. 2 squared is going to be 2 times 2, which is going to be 4. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is equals 9. 4 squared is 4 times 4, which equals 16. 5 squared equals 5 times 5, which equals 25. And 6 squared equals 6 times 6, which is going to equal 36. Now we're going to stop there because we recognize that 36 here is the number in our square root. So this is so if I know that 36 here equals 6 squared, then what I can do with this algebraic equation is I can actually take the square root of both sides, right? I can square root 36 here, and I can do the inverse operation. So I can square root 6 squared here, and the exponents to the 2 and the square roots are going to cancel out here. So this here, and I told you that it's the inverse operation. So therefore, square root of 36 is simply going to equal 6. So this is our answer here. So square root of 36 equals 6. So this method only works if you're talking about a perfect square root, where when you square root a number, you're going to get an integer or a whole number here. So in this case, this method works. If we had a number that was not a perfect square root, we would actually have to find the prime factors of 36 and break that down into its prime factors. So let me do this problem again, and I'm going to show you what I mean by breaking it down into prime factors. So assume that we're not going to use our trial and error, so we don't know what the square root of 36 is. So we're going to take this number 36, and we're going to find all the we're going to find the factors of 36 here. So as you can see, the factors of 36, this number is divisible by 3, right? So I can take out a 3 here. So it's going to be root 3 multiplied by root. And what's 36 divided by 3? Well, 36 divided by 3 equals 12 here. And then we do the exact same thing with the bigger number, right? So root 3 can also go into 12 here is divisible by 3 or also by 2, right? So let me take out a 2 here. Or let me take out a 3 here because or actually let's take out a 4 here because this here is our greatest common factor of 12, right? So let's take out a 4. So we have square root of 4. 12 divided by 4 is simply equals to 3. So now I have, root 36 is going to equal root 3 times root 4 times root 3. Which is the same thing as if root 3 times root 3 here, this is going to equal root 9 times root 4. If I simplify these two guys here. And I know that root 9 here is going to equal 3, right? And root 4 equals 2. So therefore, it's 3 times 2, which is going to equal 6. So that's how you would break this down into its prime factors, knowing given this as well. But at the end of the day, you still don't need to know that root 9 here equals 3 and root 4 equals 2. Because again, these are smaller numbers, and I would expect most students to know the square root here. But either way, both answers lead to 6. And in this case here, it's actually plus or minus 6 here. So if I were to be technical, this should be plus or minus 6 because negative 6 times negative 6 also equals 36. And 6 times 6 here equals 36 as well. So our answer technically should be plus or minus 6, depending on, and it depends on the question whether or not we take the positive or the negative one. But for our purposes, we're going to say it's plus or minus 6 here. So solution here is correct.